Hey guys, welcome back to another video. This is Eric from Tech. I actually had to pull a couple of strings just to get the BlackShark 4 Pro this week. The country is on lockdown again, so just a reminder to all my viewers to stay inside and stay safe. Having unboxed and reviewed both the ROG Phone 5 and the Red Magic 6 Pro, my expectations for this phone is pretty high. So what are we waiting for, guys? Let's unbox this phone and see how it stacks up against the two other gaming phones out in the market right now. So the model that I've got is the 12256 version, and this is the BlackShark 4 Pro. Let's slide it open. Pretty tight fit. Okay. So I've got the BlackShark logo over there, and let's see what's inside. Okay, and they've got a SIM ejector tool over there, guys. Nothing else. And of course, you've got the manuals, which are in Chinese as expected. So it's not a jelly case this time around, guys. It's more of a hard, thin plastic. So let's see how it looks on the phone later on. You've got an insert here with a couple of the key features on the phone. So it's a Snapdragon 888, and it's a 5G, and it has a 6.67-inch AMOLED. 120 watts. And they're advertising that DxOMark actually did an audio review for the phone. So let's discuss that later in the video, guys. And here is the phone, guys, but let's put it aside and see what else is in the box. So you get stickers here. So you've got a set of BlackShark stickers here. If you've been watching some of my older videos, I've never been a fan of these kind of stickers. I just put them back in the box after I'm done with them. And of course, you've got charging cable. So it's a USB-C to USB-C and seems to have an orange color. It's probably used to denote that it has support for the supercharging on this phone. I guess you can already tell. The charging brick over here proudly displays 120 watts right there. So you know that this is 120 watt charging capable. So I can't wait to do a charging test and pit it against the Red Magic 6 Pro, which has a similar 120 watts charging. And doesn't look like there is any kind of earphones on the box, but I guess that's expected. Okay, so let's put everything aside for now. And here is the phone, guys. I think it's easier to just slide it down. So right off the bat, it seems to be a fingerprint magnet, and this is the black color. Okay, this is JoyUI 12. So you've only got 3 options for the language, similar to the Red Magic 6 Pro, so of course I'll be choosing English. And let's set up a fingerprint. So when I first turned on the phone, I actually felt that the power button doubles as a fingerprint scanner. So this time around, the BlackShark 4 Pro uses a side-mounted fingerprint scanner. And done. Let's just skip that. Let's do the full screen gestures. Okay, so this year there's something different on the BlackShark phone. You get an anime style guide. From the looks of it, will guide you through the new features. So let's start the experience. Okay, so it tells you about the master button. So I guess this is referring to the mechanical shoulder buttons. So let's see how that goes. Move the sliders on both sides of the top of the phone. All right. So this year, they've actually moved to a physical master button. Before, you had to swipe down from the top left or the top right and then select the option to pop up the shoulder buttons. But this time, it uses physical switches. So let's give it a try, guys. So let me try to zoom in and then do it real quick. That was fast. I want to do a quick comparison before we move on, guys. So I wanted to compare it with the BlackShark 3 Pro's shoulder buttons, or the mechanical shoulder buttons. So on last year's BlackShark phone, you actually don't have a physical button to raise those mechanical shoulder triggers. You actually have to swipe left or swipe from the top right, and then toggle that will come up. So that was pretty slow if you actually compare it with this year's model. So let's continue. So you've got DTS sound effects next. Okay, that was pretty cool, guys. So to an extent, there is surround sound on the phone. The BlackShark 4 Pro is probably the first phone to come out with that kind of feature. Of course, you've got speedy touch experience, so there's a low latency. And finally, we've got dual disk array. So this actually reminds me that this might be a RAID configuration. So for those who are familiar with that technology, then I think that represents it. I'll do some tests in Android Bench and see how that goes. Congratulations, complete the experience. So I'm now on the home screen, guys. So the default themes on the phone are not so gamer oriented like they were in the BlackShark 2 and the BlackShark 3 days. So now looking at it from the front, it doesn't really scream out that it's a gaming phone. So if you compare that with the BlackShark 3 Pro, right away when you turn the screen on, there's a big BlackShark logo and the wallpaper is gaming oriented. Okay, so let's discuss a couple of key features on the phone. The display on this year's BlackShark 4 Pro is a 6.67-inch E4 AMOLED display, which is sourced from Samsung. And for those who are interested, the regular BlackShark 4 also uses the exact same display. What's interesting here, guys, is that the BlackShark 3 Pro last year had the biggest display. This BlackShark 3 Pro, you can see from the size difference, it's pretty huge. The BlackShark 3 Pro is 7.1-inch. If you compare that with the other gaming phones released that year, you've got the ROG Phone 3 and the Red Magic 5G. Those displays are a lot smaller than this one. But this year, the BlackShark 4 actually has the smallest display among the gaming phones released this year. So the ROG Phone 5 has a 6.78-inch display, while the Red Magic 6 Pro sits at 6.8. This is just 6.67, so it's slightly smaller, but only difference is there is thinner bezels at the top and the bottom. And I guess you've already noticed that since there is no top and bottom bezels, they had to house the front camera in a punch hole. So for comparison, I've got the Red Magic 6 Pro here. The display is almost the same. There's only a small size difference with the display, but because of the top and bottom bezels, the Red Magic 6 Pro actually looks a lot bigger. So, and from the back, you can tell that the BlackShark 4 Pro has a smaller footprint. So even though the BlackShark 4 Pro has the smallest display among the gaming phones this year, what it lacks in size, it actually makes up for with one of the world's fastest touch sampling rate, actually hitting 720 Hz. So that is more than double the touch sampling rate that you get on the ROG Phone 5. And the phone's touch delay of 8 milliseconds is pretty impressive, guys. So for us gamers, this should mean that there is an almost instant response time when touching the screen. And something new in the BlackShark phone this year is that the refresh rate is now 144 Hz. On the BlackShark 3 Pro last year, it lagged behind the competition. It actually only maxed out at 90 Hz. So it's good to see that the BlackShark 4 Pro this year came out with the impressive 144 Hz. And what's even more impressive is that the peak brightness on this phone is 1300 nits. So among the gaming phones out this year, this phone gets the brightest. So you shouldn't have any problems using this in direct sunlight. If I compare that with last year's phone, this phone actually had the dimmest display among the gaming phones with the peak brightness of 500 nits. So that's a far cry from the 1300 nits that you get on this year's model. Alright, so I've got DRM info, and I guess we're out of luck with the BlackShark 4 Pro that I've got here. It has Widevine L3. That means there will be no HD content, especially in streaming apps like Netflix. That's pretty unfortunate, guys, because on both the ROG Phone 5 and the Red Magic 6 Pro, we've got Widevine L1. So I am kind of surprised because I saw on Xiaomi's website that they are claiming that this is Widevine L1 certified. So let's talk about the build and design next. The design on this year's phone is, to be honest, pretty boring. It doesn't really look like a gaming phone. So now it looks like any other flagship phone with a glass back. Last year's BlackShark 3 Pro, this one screams gaming just by looking at the phone. And even the Red Magic 6 Pro, you can tell just by looking at the phone, it is meant for gaming. The BlackShark 4 Pro in comparison is pretty plain, but as you can tell, guys, it's a pretty bad fingerprint magnet. I've just been handling the phone for a couple of minutes and you can see the fingerprints all over the phone, even the film protector. One thing I did notice is that it has a pre-installed screen protector. So for those who want to use it right out of the box, then you know you've got some kind of protection. There's actually no mention of what Gorilla Glass protection is used on the phone. I did see on some forums that it is actually Gorilla Glass 5. Would have liked it to be Gorilla Glass Victus like on the ROG Phone 5, but I guess we'll take what we can get. So it would be highly recommended to invest in a good case as well as maybe install a tempered glass screen protector. So as I mentioned, you've got the power button here that doubles as your fingerprint scanner, shoulder buttons up and down, and your volume buttons at the left side. Speaker looks to be downward firing, and at the top, I think that's another set of speaker, guys, and the microphone array. So let's open up the SIM tray, guys, and see. Okay, so this is a dual SIM version, and of course there is no micro SD card support on this year's model. So the BlackShark 4 Pro this year is powered by the Snapdragon 888, which we all know is one of the most powerful gaming mobile chipsets out from Qualcomm right now. And that same chipset can be found on the Red Magic 6 Pro as well as the ROG Phone 5. In terms of RAM, the Pro comes in 8, 12, and 16 variants of LPDDR5 RAM. And in terms of storage, you've got a 256GB and a 512GB of UFS 3.1 storage. Another interesting feature added to the BlackShark 4 Pro this year is something called RAM Disk. That actually uses RAM as disk storage to boost performance of a particular app. It should speed up app opening and app loading times, especially for heavy games. For the storage, I came across a teardown that actually showed the phone using a purpose-built Phison NVMe SSD inside. I'll test this out with the Android Bench, so that's a storage benchmark on Android, and I'll be comparing it with the ROG Phone 5 and the Red Magic 6 Pro and see whether that purpose-built NVMe SSD actually beats out the competition. And now let's talk about the cameras. The BlackShark 4 Pro has triple camera setup at the back, so it has a 64 megapixel wide, 8 megapixel ultra wide, and a 5 megapixel macro. As I mentioned in my other videos, I am more of a telephoto lens fan and I didn't have much of a use case for the macro. The selfie camera on the other hand is a 20 megapixel shooter and it's housed in that punch hole on the display. The punch hole is pretty small, guys, so over time you're going to learn to ignore it, but this is the only gaming phone out this year that actually makes use of a punch hole. The ROG Phone 5 and the Red Magic 6 Pro has a full display without any punch hole, though you've got a much thicker top and bottom chin. With this phone, it's very minimal, that's why they had to resort to using that punch hole. So as usual on my video, we'll talk about the speakers and the sound next. The speakers on the BlackShark 4 Pro passes the DTS Ultra X surround sound technology certification, so I would expect sound to be really good. And if you guys have seen the review from DxOMark, they did say that this is one of the best smartphone speaker out in the market right now. So let me install YouTube real quick and I'll test out the sound. Okay, so let's start the sound test, guys. I have to admit, guys, that speaker system sounded pretty good. The bass was there and there was good separation between the left and the right. This might be my new #1 speaker system on a mobile phone. Before I make that decision, let me get the ROG Phone 5 and compare it real time. Let's max out the volume. Okay, one more time, guys. So playing the BlackShark 4 Pro first. So what do you think, guys? Which phone actually sounded better? Is it the ROG Phone 5 or the BlackShark 4 Pro? Let me know in the comment section down below which phone you think sounded better. So of course, let's talk about the battery and the charging. The battery on this year's BlackShark 4 Pro is now slightly smaller than last year's model. It comes in at 4500 mAh. But this time around, as you saw in the unboxing earlier, this has the 120 watts charging. So similar to the Red Magic 6 Pro, these two phones now have the fastest charging system on the planet. So I plan to do a battery charging test showdown between the Red Magic 6 Pro and the BlackShark 4 Pro. So stay tuned to the channel and make sure you've got the notifications turned on so you get notified once that video is up. So Xiaomi is claiming that you can go from 0 to 50 in 5 minutes and 0 to 100 in just 15 minutes. I'll be verifying that video soon, guys, so stay tuned. So now for the gaming features, the mechanical shoulder buttons are still there. You can enable it or turn it on by just sliding the top buttons here on the left and the right. And making a return this year is the pressure sensitive display. So that feature first came out on the BlackShark 2 Pro, which I also reviewed on the channel. So it depends on how much pressure you're putting on the display. You can configure the phone to click or select a different part of the display when you press it a bit harder. So I'll be testing out all those features in a gaming test similar to what I did with the Red Magic 6 and the ROG Phone 5. And finally, let's talk about some of the accessories. So in case you've noticed here, I've got the BlackShark controller that I initially got for the BlackShark 2 Pro. So here it is. And from what I know, this accessory is still supported on the BlackShark 4 Pro. So let's turn it on. So choosing the Shark arsenal, you can actually connect a couple of the accessories that you've got. So you've still got the Shark cooler there, a mechanical gaming keyboard, gamepad, and Bluetooth headsets. So let's connect the gamepad. Okay, so you can tell that everything is supported. So the only thing missing in order for me to actually fully utilize this is the case that lets you attach the cooler, like so. You can use it separately as a controller like this, but I haven't tried it in many games. Usually you use the case and attach it and use it like so. So it becomes like a handheld console in a way. I've got the BlackShark Fun Cooler Pro 1 over here. Let's test it out and see if it can connect to the phone. Attach the USB to the cooler, guys. So, and I'll turn it on. Okay, don't need to attach it right now. Just put it there and see if I can use the Shark cooler to connect. It's connected. It does detect the BlackShark Fun Cooler Pro. You can select it. And we've got a couple of settings that you can actually control from the phone. So we've got freeze, that is your standard fan speed. And if you want maximum cooling, you choose frozen. So you can hear that the fan is spinning really fast, guys. And one good thing with connecting the Fun Cooler Pro via the Bluetooth is that you can actually see the temperature of the Fun Cooler. Right now, the Shark cooler is at 13 degrees Celsius. You've also got the color settings, so you can control the LED lights on this Fun Cooler. Once I've gotten my hands on the Fun Cooler Pro 2, I can do a more in-depth comparison and see which one is actually better. But this one, just by touching the back of the cooler, is actually pretty cold. It actually produces lower temperature than the dual core cooler that Red Magic came out this year. So let's turn off Shark Space. Press and hold that and you're back to the main menu. So before we wrap up the video, guys, I wanted to test out and see how the case looks on the phone. So let's do a quick rub down. The fingerprints are really getting to me, guys. It's pretty bad on the back of the phone. Okay. Not too bad, not too shabby. Doesn't have much protection at the sides, unfortunately, because I don't think you can put a case on this phone and cover the sides because you've got the pop-up shoulder buttons. I didn't notice the option to turn on the LED light, so let's do a quick search for that. Screen on, steady on, default, shines, quiet, breathe. So it only controls that logo in the middle. So let's see if I can see it. Oh, there you go, guys. There's the LED light. So that's it for my quick unboxing and initial impression video, guys. Let me know in the comment section down below if this is one piece of tech that you want to get. But until then, a sub would be massively appreciated. Please like and subscribe and hit that bell icon notification. And see you all in my next one.